gone live. And okay. Latency is also, but it's all seems pretty great. So today we are doing a science stream again. Let me just take a sip of my entertainment juice. Hi there, Ali. Alright, entertainment juice is here. Hi there, Ali. Welcome. Welcome to yet another medicine stream. Well, not quite as medicine, it's more of biology, because that's the chapter. Today, I am planning on finishing third and fourth chapter, which would give us cells and tissues, which would be neat, because then, well, actually, that would be some proper medicine tissues, I suppose. That would be kind of beginning that. And so, yeah, first of all, let's revise. Leave my notes in the car, so I hopefully won't need them. Don't worry. I don't have my notes at all. I am still yet to make them. First of all, let's kind of revise what I've learned, because I have memory of a goldfish, so that would be neat. Here's the thing. Previously, we did only basics, obviously. Fortunately, there isn't much. Alright, step by step. Where shall I start? Well, first of all, I do remember the obvious things that I remember, which basically means histology from the first I should mention histology. I'll never forget what histology is now. From meningitis, that's actually a double combo, because yeah, from meninges, which is kind of cover for the brain, kind of everything I say has an asterisk, do you remember that? And itis, which would be the ending for inflammation. For example, gastritis, from gastro as the gastro system, right? Inflammation of the digestive system then would be, or the stomach. I feel like last time I said stomach. Also directions, which I'll never memorize them. I just won't. I not gonna lie, I'll never memorize them, but I will remember them at least kind of. So we have superior, inferior, up and down. Then we have the two different ways to say forward, backwards, which well, I don't remember them. I know they exist. We have the deeper or superficial, which means on the surface or deep. We have the medial and preceding, which would be in the middle, and the opposite of that apart. Then we have also one system for referencing in, when it comes to the planes too, when we have a person, right? I have to draw them twice. We have a person, and we have a person from the side with... we have a person from the side. Perfect. This is their nose, alright? This is their nose. All that matters. Anterior and posterior. Those I will never remember those. I genuinely... that's how my brain works. When it comes to the planes, I do remember that we have the transformers plane, we have the Colonel Sanders plane, and the third one. This is how I'll remember them. And I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But this is genuinely the only way I can remember them. We have the green, which is Transformers, red, which is Colonel Santos, and Coronel, I suppose, plane. All things so, yeah. I remember goldfish, but I kind of know directions. I know when I see them. When I see them, I do know. I don't know them from memory, because I just don't know. I'm sorry. That's it. And I do believe we also have had cavities. A lot of them. A lot of cavities. Which I could name most of them, but that's mostly only because I can only name them because medicine is a great field in which words are descriptive. And because of that, if you just basically take a word for some part of the body and add a cavity to it, then you would have a word for the cavity in that part of the body. It's wonderful. Wonderful stuff. Alright. It's here. Yes, all of them. Things. Looks pretty lovely. Alright. This time abstraction is 1, because cells. That's where we are. And this chapter is a bit longer than the previous one, I should also mention, because that was just the introduction. I spent the entire stream on this is how an actual chapter looks like. That's not even quite an actual chapter, this is still only cells. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's get into it then, shall we? First, key points. A living thing can be composed of either one or many cells. There are two broad categories of cells, prokaryotic and eukaryotic. I'm pretty certain eukaryotic have nuclei DNA, if I do remember correctly. Prokaryotic don't. Cells can be highly specialized with specific functions and characteristics. If you have a lot of cells that are highly specialized, and if they join together, then they can form a tissue from which you form organs. The larger chapter may want to be split into multiple days. No, this is not, listen. No, this is not the way I do things here. What you're saying is smart. We don't do things in a smart fashion on this channel. We'll try to cram at least this entire chapter on one stream, because why not? So, prokaryotic, that do not contain membrane nucleus, or other membrane-bound organelles. Alright, so I did remember that, prokaryotic. So prokaryotic don't, eukaryotic, I do remember that because last stream, Ali asked me as a quiz question, which ones humans are, and I do remember I answered. So yeah, I actually, wow, these streams do work. Cell, basic unit of an organism consisting of quantity of protoplasm surrounded by a cell membrane, which is able to synthesize protein and replicate itself. I should note that down. I should note down that definition because that's a very elegant definition. So, cells, as a two, it's fine. There we go. With Times New Roman because we're fancy on this stream. And then the definition. Cells are defined as a basic unit of living organism, that's kind of logical based on the abstraction, as consisting of a quantity of protoplasm. Once again, when it comes to definitions, I'm just copying them because these are definitions. If I change something up, then I'll land the wrong thing. Protoplasm surrounded by a cell membrane which is able to synthesize. Festive. Alright, cells as building blocks. A cell is the smallest unit of a living thing. A living thing, well, that's why it's abstraction 1, because as I mentioned, the base abstraction of life, the level at which things can be considered alive for the first time. That's why the basic unit is right here. A living thing, whenever made of one cell like bacteria or many cells like a human, is called an organism. Thus, cells are the basic building blocks of all organisms. Several cells of one kind that interconnect with each other to perform a shared function form tissues. As I mentioned previously, a couple seconds ago. I'm guessing I don't have to say that actually. If you have a group of cells together, they form a tissue. Yes, I'm pretty certain in anatomy we already have that. Several tissues combine to form an organ. Once again, several organs, organ system, and then some organ systems that function together form an organism. Festive. I'm pretty certain these are called levels of... Well, I would call that level of complexity, of abstraction, but organization levels. It's a very fun pun, because these are levels of organization, which are also, like, organizing organism. It's funny. Alright, let me just first play some music, actually, I just realized. So what are we in mood today? Lo-fi, classical, fat rat, right? I feel like classical would be a good one. Lo-fi, on it. Copyright free lo-fi. Alrighty. So, cells and non-function together form an organism. Yes, there are many types of cells, all grouped into one or two broad categories, prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Festive. itself. Dot can divide cells into prokaryotic and eukaryotic. My goodness, that is it. Has the joy to spell. Example, both animal and plant cells are classified as eukaryotic cells, whereas bacterial cells are classified as prokaryotic. Yeah, I misspelled that whilst mentioning how fun it is to spell. I should also mention prokaryotic. Boy, I'll never learn that too. Small cells in domains bacteria and archaea, not arachne, wrong thing, that do not contain a membrane, being cells that do not contain I did a presentation on E. coli. Yeah, it's honestly really festive. I really like. I mentioned so many times already how much I like Libitex. Do you have that presentation, perchance? Or was it lost? I mentioned many times how much I love Libitex for being free, because this entire book is amazing. I think it's fair to say that I still am, and will be for quite a while, a complete noob when it comes to medicine. Yet this book not only covers the actual medicine, but also covers the basics required. It's nice of them. Alright, organelles. And eukaryotic. Come on, tick. Having complex cells. Okay. They do phrase something. Well, they also misspell a couple of things, which already led me down a couple of rabbit holes, won't lie. But the general idea is very nice. I mean, to be fair, it is free, so it's amazing. Having complex cells in which the genetic material is contained within membrane-bound nuclei. Yeah, I mean, that's, but the thing is, I also kind of skew it with a bit of a bias. I realized that when I was researching chemistry, I read the thing itself, chemistry. When I was researching chemistry, not all books are created equal. And whilst this one is rather nice because it tries to cover, and I would say succeeds for the purpose of these streams, it covers, from the complete beginner to at least to medicine, to actual medicine, and that's really nice. But most of them kind of diverge. Some of them are for basics, some of them are for expert level, and because of that, when I was researching chemistry, sometimes they called energy levels the different shells, whilst others were defining energy levels based on the wave functions, and I just not all of them are consistent, so I like that these ones are consistent at least. Nuclei dot. Types of specialized cells. Your body has many kinds of cells, each specialized for a specific purpose. Just as a home is made from a variety of building materials, the human body is constructed from many cell types. For example, epithelial cells, I'm pretty certain we already had that word somewhere, protect the surface of the body and cover the organs, yes, with epithelial tissue, if I'm not mistaken. Please don't tell me I'm mistaken. Yes! Oh, that is not okay. Yeah, okay. I'm glad I'm not forgetting stuff. So that makes sense. Epithelial cells make up epithelial tissue. Obviously, it's obvious, but it's about little things. Protect the surface of the body and cover the organs and body cavities within. Bone cells help to support and protect the body. Cells of the immune system fight invading bacteria. Additionally, blood and blood cells carry nutrients and oxygen throughout the body while removing carbon dioxide. Each of these cell types plays a vital role during the growth, development, and day-to-day maintenance of the body. In spite of their enormous variety, however, cells from all organisms, even ones as diverse as bacteria, onion, and human, share certain fundamental characteristics. Okay, I need more coffee. Alright. You can wake me up at 3 a.m. and I'll be able to solve calculus equations, but without my coffee I can't read. Reading is harder than doing calculus, right? I'm just saying. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the... Is it? I never heard that. No, I remember. It was a couple of years ago. I switched computers twice since then, but I had a folder for just mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell memes. I just had a folder with 50 different memes about that. Alright, various cell types: nasal sinus cells, onion cells. I don't think I should I list them? Because these are just examples, not all of them. There's many more. Right, cell membranes and fluid mosaic model. Let's go for it. Plasma membrane, the semi-permeable barrier that surrounds the cytoplasm of a cell. Receptor, protein on a cell wall that binds with specific molecules so that they can be absorbed into the cell. We already had the word receptor. We already had that, and it meant something else. It meant for the feedback, for the feedback system. Cos'è Apples, ne? Did I not know that down? Pretty soon I know that down. Excuse me? Have I really not? Oh, that's right, physiology, I forgot. Oh, a sensor, okay. It's good to remember the differences. So receptor. Alright, structure of plasma membranes. Plasma membrane, also known as the cell membrane or cytoplasmic membrane, makes sense, its cyto would be a cell, is a biological membrane that separates the interior of a cell from its outside environment. The primary function of the plasma membrane is to protect the cell from its surrounding, composed of a phospholipid bilayer with embedded proteins. The plasma membrane is selectively permeable to ions and organic molecules and regulates the movement of substances in and out of cells. Plasma membranes must be very flexible in order to allow certain cells, such as red blood cells and white blood cells, to change shape as they pass through narrow capillaries. Caterpillars. The plasma membrane also plays a role in anchoring the cytoskeleton to provide shape to the cell and in attaching to the extracellular matrix and other cells to help group cells together to form tissues. Membrane also maintains the cell potential. Alright, give me a second. That's it. Oh wait, did you send something? Actually, I should wait. First of all, let me fix one thing. I forgot about that. There we go. You are now able to send links and whatnot, whatever YouTube wasn't allowing. Alright, there we go. I have more moderators than people. I have more moderators than viewers on the streams. In short, if the cell is represented by a castle, the plasma membrane is the wall that provide. Yeah, I think we kind of get that. Oh boy, that's a lovely graphic. Okay. Let me first open up a new tab. Or it's just going to download. It's an SVG, sorry, not SK, wrong thing. Okay, so we have nucleoside extracellular fluid. I was unsubscribed, so I couldn't chat. No, why'd you no? Okay, so that's what I thought. I was having a heart attack, but it was just you unsubbing. That's why all the joy left my body. My brain just suddenly stopped pumping dopamine, and that's just things that happen to all the YouTubers whenever someone unsubs. Just normal stuff. Alright, the cell membrane. Oh, I should note that down, definitely. I should note that as a subchapter, actually. With 4. Cell membrane. Alright. Yeah, I can see it is. Could we get a bit of a different graphic for it, actually? I'm wondering. Wikimedia. It's not the best place to look for graphics, but it is a really good one still. So, cell membrane. That's festive. Cool. Can I steal it? Also goes to remember, yep. I should memorize at least some of these. Free to share, adapt. Okay, cool. I should memorize some of these licenses. Alright. I copied the low quality version. I added this to the header. Come on, make it! 7th time the charm. I swear. If I need tries in order to copy an image into... Okay, you're not making it easy for me either. Thank you. Thank you so much. Alright. I mean, this graphic is very well done. I don't know what to add to that. It's just... yeah. It is just well done. Alright, so let's now read into it. We have the carbohydrate, glycoprotein, globular protein, protein channel, transport protein, cholesterol, glycolipid, surface protein, globular protein, filaments of the cytoskeleton, alpha helix protein, peripheral protein. Alright, filaments of cytoskeleton. I remember that from when I was doing the model. The one thing that always amazes me, which is really often always also forgotten about, is the fact that these scales are way smaller than we think. Like, over here, we have these phospholipid, right? Phospholipids. And basically, if you zoom in, these are directly made of atoms. Like, 1 pixel here would be an atom. 1 pixel would be the size of an atom. Which is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. We don't think about that. And that is a cell membrane of that is a cell membrane, it's a membrane of a cell. So if you zoom in into this, then 1 pixel will be an atom. For cells, atoms are like dust for us, which is ridiculous. Phospholipids, the fact that the head is hydrophilic and the tail is hydrophobic is important. I'm guessing based on hydrophobic is that the tail, okay, so yeah, so attracts water and the opposite of attracts water, I don't know the antonym. I don't remember the antonym. Yeah, so attracts water and the antonym of attracts water. Okay. It's year 2023, and there are phospholipids out there who are still hydrophobic. Horrible. Alright, now that I did that very obvious joke, let's carry on. Phospholipids and proteins that provide a barrier between the external environment and the cell, regulate the transportation of molecules across the membrane, and communicate with cells via protein receptors. When it comes to permeability of cell membranes, transfer, that actually, I feel like we might genuinely right now be getting into it. Movement of a substance across the selectively permeable plasma membrane can be either passive, occurring without the input of cellular energy, or active. Its transport requires the cell to expend energy. Okay. The cell employs a number of transport mechanisms that involve biological membranes. Passive osmosis and diffusion transport gases such as dioxide and carbon dioxide, and other small molecules and ions. Transmembrane protein channels and transporters transport small organic molecules such as sugars or amino acids. Endocytosis transports large molecules or even whole cells by engulfing them. Exocytosis removes or secretes substances such as hormones or enzymes. I'm seeing all this, aren't I? Alright, so let's dissect that a bit, because can I? Hi there, Apipat. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. No more text, if I may, with Times New Roman. Are we at the bottom? We are at the bottom. Festive. Number of transmission biological membranes. Oh boy. Well, it's fine. Just step by step. Baby steps. Number of transport mechanisms that involve biological membranes. So these are all the cell. Number of transport mechanisms. Oh, there's many words come together, form a sentence. It's complex. Hard to read. Okay, so let's just list them as different transport mechanisms and their targets. And we will have, why doing schoolwork on vacation? You know me, trying to pass that 5th grade. Yeah, I got held back a couple of years, and now I just have to. That's why you should all study in school. Otherwise, you'll end up like me. We have passive osmosis and diffusion. Now, this is going to be a wild guess, but I am guessing that passive osmosis is passive. Wild guess. You're glad to know that whilst I'm trying to, whilst I'm learning to read, you're already preparing a pop quiz for me. No, it's not nerve-wracking or anything, you know, just... Okay, wild guess, but I'm guessing passive osmosis is passive, and diffusion, also passive. It's kind of upsetting actually. Well, we can like logically assume which ones are passive, which ones are active, but I don't trust myself enough to logically assume that. Transports gases. Equation, if I may. That's why I always say that there should be a shortcut for equations. O2 O require ATP, IK energy. I remember that bit. ATP as energy, for example. Festive, and all the small molecules and ions. Now, from Kurzgesagt school, I am pretty certain that diffusion is passive. Ali, please correct me if I'm wrong. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm scared. Transmembrane protein channels and transporters transport small organic molecules. Diffusion is passive. Okay. And also, because these two are obviously active, like that's obvious. Obviously active. But exocytosis, because it removes chromosomal enzymes. Alright, first there's node of them. So transmembrane protein channels and transporters. Transports. Both active and passive diffusion. Both active and passive diffusion. Let's just say it's passive. But to be fair, they did mention passive, so it's probably, you know, it's probably passive osmosis and passive diffusion. So like you know, so it's like, you know, it's passive osmosis and diffusion. You know, it's like this, so it's both passive. Yes, so like it's passive and passive. So I'm guessing it's the passive one. Wild guess. Osmosis is passive diffusion. Oh, so they mean and then let's see the end diffusion. That would mean that diffusion wouldn't be passive. That's true then. They could have just said which one is active and which one is passive instead of. I'm just going to add asterisks. That's it. Passive with an asterisk. All right. Transports small organic molecules. For example, sugars or amino acids, which is, this one is active. I think that's correct. I have no idea, as if I would know. Endocytosis transports large molecules. So we have basically transporting small things, which are small enough for diffusion. We have transporting medium things. We have transporting large things, and then we have removing. Large molecules. Well, this one is actually or even whole cells. By engulfing them, sure, engulfing them. I'm guessing this one includes ATP, because let's be real, I shouldn't be guessing though. From high concentration, yeah, okay. Yeah, I am an Kurzgesagt enjoyer, so I know. Listen, whilst other people learn medicine and biology, well, mostly biology, not really medicine, there's more biology to read. Most people learn biology from textbooks. I am a Kurzgesagt enjoyer. Alright. Active. Fourth one, I have no idea. I'm just going to list that. Exocytosis removes or secretes substances such as hormones or enzymes. Enzymes uses vehicles to go through plasma membrane. So yeah. Oh, so like endocytosis would be these vehicles kind of, well, engulf is actually a very festive word for this. Engulf the thing that they need to transport and move it out. By using ADP. Because I don't think you could achieve something like that without ATP. Festive. Alright. Plasma membrane and cellular signaling. Among the most sophisticated functions of the plasma membrane is its ability to transmit signals via complex proteins. These proteins can be receptors, which work as receivers of extracellular inputs and as activities of intracellular processes, or markers which allow cells to recognize each other. So that's basically the kind of way for system for the cell membrane to actually know what's going on, kind of protein-based. Membrane receptors provide extracellular attachment sites for effectors like hormones and growth factors, which then trigger intracellular responses. Some viruses, such as human immunodeficiency virus (HIV), can hijack these receptors to gain entry into the cells, causing infections. I've said it a million times already, but I love how descriptive medicine is. HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. I wonder what it does. Okay, can hijack these receptors to gain entry into cells, causing infections. Festive. No, not so festive. Not actually not festive. Not fun. Not fun. No, it's not fun. It's very bad, I would even say. I would say it's actually pretty horrible. Alright, so I suppose I should finish reading before I note something down. Membrane markers allow cells to recognize one another, which is vital for cellular signaling processes that influence tissue and organ formation during early development. This marking function also plays a later role in self versus non-self distinction of the immune response. Marker proteins of human red blood cells, for example, determine the blood type. AB, or it's determined by marker proteins. Okay. Thing into the cell and exo is taking out. Also, these are like the... So these are a similar process except in and out. That's the difference between them. Have a sip in that. Alright. Now it's time for the plasma membrane, cellular signaling, plasma membrane. Transmit signals via complex proteins. Okay, I may go a bit too computer science-y on this, but the input and output, the input of plasma membrane as a bold how would I put it in words? Well, plasma membrane is great at keeping things out, keeping things in, but you do also need to know what's going on. It's the basic idea. Whilst the plasma, I'm so afraid of being wrong here, membrane, for no reason, I can just control Z to be fair, is great at not great, great at keeping some things in and others out. All the body is a fleshy computer, Ali 2023. I mean, I can see why that would be least kind of favorite part of medicine, because this is, well, alright, this is kind of, I don't know how to describe it quite. There is still a need for an input system. I feel like I'm writing a sort of program or operating system, honestly, for an input system so that the cell can know what's going on. That's where the where the what and how and where now. Is there cellular signaling? What exactly is the cellular signaling? Because I get the idea of these 3 paragraphs of text, but which part of the system is actually cellular signaling? I mean, based on the name, I would guess the entirety of it. That's why they would do on samples, right? Probably had a computer science guy to explain stuff. Alright. What was I doing? Oh yeah. So let me just take a sip. The cellular signaling. But what's really nice to think about, nice to remember, is that once we're finished with this and maybe the next chapter, that's it. We have skin, we have skeleton, muscular, nervous system. Wow, I'm really looking forward to this one. Nervous system is my favorite bit, probably. For me. Where I start popping off. Alright. Which one is your favorite? That's a good question. You shouldn't judge people based on anything. You know, you should judge people based on what's their favorite organal system. Nervous system is hard. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. The brain is always regarded as the, I believe, most complex environment humans ever found. But I like the respiratory system. Do we have a chapter for that? I mean, you should have. We have the cardiovascular, kind of. Respiratory, we do. 21! That's the 4th last... Well, not really. That we do have reproductory, but that's... And something, and... Embryology, obviously. Lymphatic is really fun. Yeah, it's your favorite system are later down the book. I like the nervous system a lot because, well, I'm a computer scientist. It's kind of obvious I would like the nervous system. Big surprise there. That's why it's the only one that I researched at all. Kind of, and not really researched, when you read about a bit. Last. Alright. So don't worry, Ali. Just we have to go through 1, maybe 2 stream stops, and then the fun shall begin. Has to get through that though. That's why the signaling comes in handy. Complex proteins. These proteins can be receptors which work as inputs or markers, which now says with receptors and markers. Don't explode. Ah, you always saving there. 1984, literally 1984. Don't explode. Well, nice people should do have fun then. I'm just saying, we can't build a grenade. How are we supposed to? YouTube, hi to YouTube. I would just like to mention all these are jokes. None of this is serious. All right, I just wanted to go on the record to say none of this is serious. We're all having fun here. Almost as fun as donate to charity at https://megaw/charity/ we can go donate some money to charity and get the size of pie for yourself. Once again, that's https://megaw/charity/ we can go donate some money to charity and get the size of pie for yourself. Why did I mention that? You can go and donate some money to charity at https://megaw/charity/. Just saying. Alright. You know what would be festive? Receptors markers. Okay, first make it, finish doing that, then start talking about fun stuff. Receptors being used to used as receivers of extracellular inputs and as activators of intracellular processes. And markers which allow cells to recognize each other. Receptors provide extracellular membrane markers. Is there anything else to be said here? Which should find out signaling that influence tissue and organ. Yeah. This marking function also plays a later role in self versus non-self distinction of the immune response. Marker parameters, for example, determine the blood type. Fun! Wait, no, go back. Fun fact! Marker proteins on human red blood cells determine blood type. A, B, or O. I have no idea what blood type I am actually. I should probably check it somewhere. One of the presents some what's them called little pieces of paper, and I'm not a government fan. Key terms: amphiphilic. Having one surface consisting of hydrophilic amino acids and the opposite surface consisting of hydrophobic ones, which I am guessing it's a reference to this. I'm guessing that, yeah, that seems like this. That really seems like a blue square moment. Yeah, we're doing great. I just had an idea because I remember it was said that you would like to see a compilation of me, you know, plugging the charity, right? Doing the entire, you know, like it's my charity goes to https://make it up charity. You can go to my charity and get to buy food. Once again, https://make it up charity. You can go to my charity DBS Alliance and get to buy for yourself. This thing, I just realized I could just download all of the streams. Well, maybe not download them, that would be silly. I don't have the space for that. But I could, like, you know, download them in batches, run them through some kind of voice recognition thing in order to look for the words charity. And that would basically tell me for each file where there is a plug. And that means I could genuinely do it. I could genuinely do that. That's 200 streams still, which is a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of streams. But well, that'd be actually very festive to do 200. Yeah, I might do it. All right. Fluid mosaic model was first proposed by S.J. Singer and Garth L. Nicholson in 1972 to explain the structure of the plasma membrane. The model has evolved somewhat over time, but it still best accounts for the structure and functions of the plasma membrane as we now understand them. Fluid mosaic model describes the structure of plasma membrane as a mosaic of components, including phospholipids, cholesterol, proteins, and carbohydrates. I'm pleased, and all these are cholesterol. I lost myself. Where is it? Phospholipids, yes. This gives the membrane a fluid character. Gives membrane fluid character. Also, treating membrane as a fluid mosaic. Yeah, I guess that. Yeah. Wow, big shocker. Fluid mosaic model treats the membrane as a mosaic that's a fluid. Big surprise there. That is a great. I mean, yeah, that's great. Let's add that. So, the fluid mosaic model describes the structure of plasma membrane as a mosaic of components. Describes the plasma membrane as a mosaic of components. Like, well, let's just list them actually. These, basically. So, should I list them all? I might. Carbohydrates. Without the P at the beginning. It ain't a pointer. See, programming language joke. Carbohydrates. Let me actually prettify it a bit. There we go. Actually, I could just look at this image separately. There we go. First of carbohydrates, glycoproteins, globular proteins. Protein channels, I suppose that would be more abstract, so probably I shouldn't mention that here. Cholesterol, glycolipids, and yeah, dot dot dot. Which gives the membrane a fluid character. Plasma membranes range from 5 to 10 nanometers in thickness. For comparison, the human red blood cells visible via microscopy approximately 8 micrometers wide, which is, well, kind of 800. Is it? 8, that'll be 80, 80, that'll be 800. I think so. Yeah, okay, 800. Actually, 1,000, yeah, but 800 times wider than the plasma membrane. The proportions of proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates in the plasma membrane vary with a cell type. For example, mammalian contains 18% protein, 76% lipid. Mitochondrial in a membrane consists of 76% protein and 24% lipid. So they can switch the 76 there, except this one is made up only of lipid and protein, this one isn't. And over here we have a table with components. Alright, then let's create a table. Also, let's add over here the fact that the proportions of proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates. I love different kinds of tables. I remember once I was trying to solve the hyperoperational mathematics with tables, and they kind of bit me. The plasma membrane. When I realized that in one of the cells of the table there's just going to be a number which had, I think, 700 characters. Alright. Whoa! You came back. Why is it on? Why you only on streams? What? You a fan or something? You literally tune in only for the charity checkups. I just have one mosquito who's just a fan of charity checkups apparently. Only comes out to screw with me during. Alright, festive. Very depending on the type. And now a table, insert table, right? There's 2x5. Actually, no, I can do it as a list. But not like that. Only there was a shortcut for the bullet list. I already forgot the shortcut because I was used this like these. Different components of the plasma membrane can be found in different locations. We'll have those. phospholipid, cholesterol, integral proteins, peripheral proteins. Festive. Carbohydrates. Now where are all of them? I don't understand how you have an infestation of mosquitoes. I don't have an infestation of mosquitoes. I have this one little cheesy bugger which is stalking me. Damn it! Oh. Standing on the wall, I had him. Escaped by an inch. It's fine, make it. One day you'll get your revenge. I am so close to I'm so close to burning down my apartment. Just to get... How long do mosquitoes live? I will outlive you. It's my promise. I will outlive you. I should give him a name. No, then I get attached. That's not the point. Alright. So, we have all of those and their respective locations. Main fabric of the membrane. I feel like I should just copy paste this fabric of the membrane. Cholesterol is attached between phospholipids and between two phospholipid layers. So we have phospholipids and then cholesterol between them. Attached between phospholipids. We have integral proteins within the phospholipid layer. Embedded. May or may not penetrate through both layers. That's very vague. Embedded within phospholipid layer. Proteins on the inner or outer surface of phospholipid bilayer. So on the surface of phospholipid bilayer, not embedded within the phospholipid. It's fine. So okay. The reason why some phospholipid don't penetrate. Ask me what the reason. Okay, so I should remember there is a reason. Just I shouldn't question. There's a graphic for this. That's neat. Okay, I think I'm starting it. Ah, yeah, but this is just one chapter I'll have to suffer through. I keep reminding myself that this will get me one step closer to going to the nervous system. So, proteins on the inner or outer surface of the phospholipid bilayer, but not embedded within the phospholipids. Festive. Quite a grueling chapter, yeah. I can tell. Alright. Principal components of plasma membrane and lipids, phospholipids and cholesterol, proteins, and carbohydrates. Some lipids, some proteins. I swear. Mosaic model of plasma membrane. Didn't we already have that? Didn't we already cover that? the fluid mosaic model. I'm pretty certain we recovered that right here. And over here we have this. The fluid mosaic model of the plasma membrane describes the plasma membrane as fluid combination of phospholipids, cholesterol, and proteins. Yes, carbohydrates attached to lipids, glycolipids, and to proteins, glycoproteins. Extend from the outward-facing surface of the membrane. Yeah, okay, cool. The main fabric of the membrane is composed... Okay, let's wrap through this one. The main fabric of the membrane is composed of amphilytic and dual-loving... What? Okay. I got stumped right away! Phospholipid molecules. The hydrophilic of water-loving areas of these molecules are in contact with the aqueous fluid both inside and outside the cell. Hydrophobic or water-hating molecules, that's a bit harsh, tend to be non-polar. A phospholipid molecule consists of 3 carbon glycerol backbone with 2 fatty acid molecules attached to the carbons 1 and 2, and a phosphate containing group attached to the 3rd carbon. This arrangement gives the overall molecule an area described by its head, the phosphate containing group, which has a polar character or the negative charge, and an area called the tail, the fatty acids, which has no charge. They interact with other non-polar molecules in chemical reactions, but generally do not interact with polar molecules. When placed in water, hydrophobic molecules tend to form a ball or cluster. The hydrophilic regions of the phospholipids tend to form hydrogen bonds with water and other polar molecules on both exterior and interiors of the cell. Thus, the membrane surfaces that face the interior and exterior of the cell are hydrolytic. In contrast, the middle of cell membrane is hydrophobic and will not interact with water. Therefore, phospholipids form an excellent lipid bilayer. Cell membrane separates fluid within the cell. The fluid of the cell is simple stuff. Oh my goodness. I get the idea. Hates water, loves water. Then we have the bilayer and single layer. I think those are all pretty obvious too. To the rest, then we have lipid bilayer sheet. Yes, makes sense. Not too much water escapes the cell. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Phospholipid aggregation. In aqueous solution, phospholipids tend to arrange themselves with their polar heads facing outward and their hydrophobic tails facing inward. I'm only paying 50% attention. Don't worry. It's fine. Heads, hydrophobic tails. Biology says biology major. I do get you, wanting to soften it up a bit for YouTube, but in order to make a joke funny. To quote a biology major, fuck biology! So let's carry on. Anyway, basically, yeah, we have these, which is, well, it's kind of more of a biochemistry at this point, which is even better, honestly. Yeah. The only chapter in this entire thing which isn't filled is the abstraction 0, which is biochemistry. That's for a reason. Well, no, chemistry is fine. There is just... Listen, here's the thing. When you have quantum mechanics, right? Quantum mechanics, as the scale goes up, slowly but surely turns into chemistry. On the other side, you have, medicine, right? And as the medicine slowly but surely tends to smaller things, it turns into biology. And then there's kind of awkward moment where those basically merge, and you have, on one hand, the biology approach, on the other hand, the chemical approach, where they kind of merge together to form an absolute abomination of biochemistry with bio. Which is absolutely ridiculous, because over here is all about calculations, basically. You can the idea of this is you can calculate everything. So The idea of this is you have direct abstraction and calculation. The idea of this is understanding how it works. And the idea of this is the worst of both worlds. It's just, it's a mess. That's what it is. It's a mess. And that's why biochemistry is just, it's ridiculous. People who love chemistry hate people who love chemistry but have a problem with medicine hate biochemistry because it's too much like medicine, and people who love medicine but have a problem with quantum mechanics hate biochemistry because it's too much like quantum mechanics. No one is happy. Proteins make up the second major component of plasma membranes. Integral proteins, some specialized types are called integrins. As the name suggests, integrated completely into the membrane structure and the hydrophobic membrane, spanning. Sip. Hydrophobic membrane spanning regions interact with hydrophobic region as well. Can Christ in biochem. All of this can be summarized by we have a all of this can be summarized with this. Is basically we have a hydrophilic head, hydrophobic tail, and a bit of chemistry. Fuck it, we're doing it. Abstraction 0. Fluid mosaic model of the plasma membrane. Wrong brain, one kind of brain. Festive. There we go. Somebody's but the first fluid is important. Alright, but more dedication than I would. Listen, listen. That's actually matter of perspective. You could call it dedication. You could call it insanity. You could it's either dedication or requiring of medication. One of these two. Because I feel like I can dissect this. I feel like it's just because that's also the fact that they just clumped it together. If you're gonna do something, do it right. Well, no, I think of it more as additional content. That makes the stream longer, the algorithm like. I mean, yeah. Obviously, obviously we want to do it right. That's the reason. Yeah. Obviously, money. No, but I feel like what doesn't help is the fact that they just clumped it together into a solid block of text. That cannot help. They just added these 3 large threads of text and just said, go figure. I feel like if I dissect this could be understandable. Alright. Time to do the thing. Main fabric of the membrane is composed of, okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll have membrane of amphilic or dual loving phospholipid molecules. Okay, hydrophilic or water-loving areas of these molecules, dual-loving, hydrophilic, dual, more closely to help. I'm going to need a psychiatrist to help me after this. Hydrophilic or water-loving areas of these molecules are in contact with the aqueous fluid both inside and outside the cell. Okay. The first 2 sentences already broke me, but hydrophobic or water-hating molecules tend to be non-polar. Tend to? Now we're getting back to chemistry. Tend to, like, as if they know. You know what? On Mondays I'm just kind of non-polar, but on Fridays I'm just starting to be a bit polar. Read the damn book right there. Look at the damn book right there. Phospholipid molecule consists of 3 carbon glycerol backbone with 2 fatty acid molecules attached to carbons 1 and 2. Wait, that's just this. That's just the blue square. This, right here. Why are you describing that? You want this to be confusing. Oh hell no. No. That's ridiculous. You want this to be confusing. You are describing a 3D structure with text. Who does that? As a head, phosphate containing group. Okay, I get it now. Oh my goodness. That's the reason why it's such a flaming turd of a mess. Oh my goodness. They are describing a 3D structure with text. Okay, it's all clear now, but... So this is the correct way to do it, not the correct way, only the... So here's the thing. Phospholipid molecule. Phospholipid molecule. Okay, first of all, let me just check something, because I'm like alright certain that projects sources, no, resources, there we go. And I have peptidoglycan, I don't have a model of... I have a model of peptidoglycan, that's it. I don't have the phospholipids. I feel like if I just make a 3D model of that, then it would all become so much clearer. I mean, I could. I could. Phospholipid. The thing that really keeps me going is the fact that we will get to the nervous system. That really keeps me going. Okay, are these black ones supposed to be atoms? I'm guessing they are supposed to be. Okay, cool. Someone is firing outside my apartment. I'm hoping they are firing fireworks, but if they aren't, then you know what? Staying inside and streaming doesn't seem like that bad an idea. Alright, festive. This is a very lovely structure for a phospholipid. Cells, new folder, phospholipids. Blender. We'll get to the fun stuff, I promise. Argons allowed in your country. As if that's going to stop. Oh, you mean like, yeah. No, they... they aren't. Phospholipids. They are not. Boring, am I right? Up. A second, I'm American speaking. And we will need carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus and nitrogen. Wow, it's almost as if those molecules tend to be for some reason used in organic substances, actually, of all sorts. What a coincidence! Peptidoglycan, I'm pretty certain peptidoglycan has them all, which means I can just copy them instead of worrying. We have carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen. We are missing phosphorus. Don't worry, I can figure that out still. Mate, you mind stopping? I don't know if you can hear that, by the way. Oh yeah, you can. Okay, good. Glad to know. Yeah, I can see it's reflecting on my OBS. I'm pretty certain there's fireworks though. It's really funny because in America you do have this debate of are guns good, are guns bad. I don't want to get into it. I physically don't want to get into it. I choose to not have an opinion because that's politics and we're not doing politics on this channel. But what I really like is that this debate is very lively. And other countries have these hard gun bans, so we don't want guns, right? Like, we really are opposed to guns, but they allow people to buy fireworks. There's no problem buying fireworks, which it's ridiculous. It's a very, very interesting thing. Guns in Europe, guns are, because in America you wouldn't get that, not because like you're different. No, it's only mostly because of the culture. In Europe, guns are something really weird. It's like really weird. It's like having a bomb in your backyard because you can. That's the kind of thing. Guns are considered very, very impossibly dangerous thing. But fireworks are allowed, which is weird because it is the same thing. It is the same thing, the exact same thing. When it comes to guns, the dangerous part of the gun is not the gun itself, it's the ammunition. Obviously, without the ammunition, the gun is just, without the ammunition, gun is just this piece of metal which don't do nothing. I mean, the ammunition without the gun, though, is still dangerous because it's explosive. It's an explosive piece of metal. Not pre-minerals added guns. Yeah, exactly. You could just add some to have, I don't know. I'm guessing there are people out there who add the different chemicals to their bullets in order to make the gun more pretty. You started by the like green firing bullets, so that when you fire them instead of that's actually I can see a market for that. I can see a market for that. So like if you have a green gun, a gun custom made to be green, then you don't want your fire that's coming. I don't know. There is probably a professional way to say this best. Whatever. Don't want it to be normal orange, reddish, because that breaks the aesthetic. Instead, we want it to be green. Actually, that wouldn't cost that much to add these chemicals there. And the people who would buy that wouldn't be the military, so not as a. They wouldn't care if the gun is firing at only 90% of the original force. Alright, these are the items we send. That's a good idea for a startup. Did I not copy them? Come on. These. Unless I have to copy the entire thing. Oh wait, only atoms, that's all I care about. Yeah, that's right. Copy. Paste. I copied too much. Not what I meant to copy. Paste. Festive. No idea why these are included, but delete. Glad. So these are basically atoms. And what we shall do is get a reference for phospholipids. Save image as. And the structure of phospholipids JPEG. Thank you. Let me just drop it in. Oh, I love that Blender just allows me to do that. I can just drop it in. It's so convenient. Festive. Is it an H3 or H2? I opened the image with the same quality, come on. This is also the same quality. It seems like a 2 to me. The last one is 3. Okay, all of them are 2. The last one is 3, that makes more sense. Collection is this. There we go. Of we will have hydrogen. Then we will also we will scale down the hydrogen. There we go. Then we will also add another collection instance. Actually, no, keep it sized. Then we'll get the carbon. Then we'll get the nitrogen. And then we'll get the oxygen. We have phosphorus, but we'll figure it out when we get to it. Then we'll scale them down. Right. Carbon. Festive. I really like this Lofi, that was a good choice. Off! Thank you. That's oxygen, okay. And my hobo ex-cozy era. I can sympathize with YouTube. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm close. Well, to be if I'll get there, then I'll probably have a bit more drastic one, mostly due to the fact that, you know, YouTube is not really a job. Alright, this. Festive. And now you up and onto the other side. And you go up, rotate it along the y-axis. You know how good of a motivated desperation is? I feel like the villain from Iron Man 3, I don't remember the name, I don't remember the name, but recent does a quote from the villain. It's actually quite interesting because they actually their main thing was biology and turning humans into super weapons. That's not a foreshadowing to any plans I have. I'm just obviously no. There's the conventions for that against biological weapons and basically mutating humans like that. That would be so silly if I did that. No, but desperation is a really good motivator. That's actually how I managed to make all of those things that I do make. I wouldn't recommend though, if there are other options. There we go. It doesn't have to be perfect for this. I just want it to kinda look like, makes sense. This festive. Did I select another ball? I selected an additional ball here. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay. And for the ending, we have 3. Right, certainly does look like a 3 to me. Very, very blurry one, but yeah, a 3. And then the top will have carbon. I'm just dumping them on in the super villain era. This is my listen. This is my backup plan. If YouTube won't work out, then I'll become a super villain. That's a dream of mine, to become a super villain. I mean, can you imagine? That would be so great. That's maybe one day I'll make just make a super villain series on YouTube. I am just one bad day away from going full Joker, honestly. No one cared who I was till I put on the mask. Carbon dehydrate. No, that doesn't hydrate with water, not hydrogen. This right here. This right here. This right here. We're missing phosphorus still. Is it H3 or H2? I can't really get that. it seems like an H2 and H33. Is it H33? Oh boy, I love them. Also nitrogen. We do have nitrogen in there, right? Yeah, we do. Festive. So nitrogen up here. I don't really have a way to symbolize electrons here, so I'm just dumping them in. And now carbon, hydrogen, carbon with hydrogen, and the triple 3 times. Festive. Perfection. Yeah, beautiful. We're missing phosphorus, but for that I'll just add a ball. What's the standard color for phosphorus? Very standard question, I'm pretty certain. Common knowledge. What's the standard color for phosphorus? Atom standard for colors. I always forget what it's called. CPK coloring, obviously, yeah. Phosphorus. The fact that I know this is one large cry for help. And this is orange but emission. For the rest I used a volume shader, but that won't really matter. High dose, no longer required. Also this. There we go. Now we can render an image. Not do anything halfway, do I? I mean, I just have like this huge fear of, because space life and time is a kind of culmination of my knowledge, right? So if the space life and time ain't great, that means my knowledge ain't great, which is a problem because you have an OCE. No, not really. I'm very messy. I don't think so. I leave many things like halfway through, don't finish them. It's just, actually I had no idea why I'm doing this. Just checking. Oh, this mosquito! I got now. Okay, give me a second. I'm about to wreck you, boy. Oh, I got him good. Yes. Oh yeah. Okay. Let me show you what I did. Okay, before you start accusing me of ADHD, let me just show you what I did, and then you'll be able to see just how comical it was. Because, okay, I just got the little fucker, right? I got him, and I saw my opportunity, alright, and I took it. I will never apologize for that because, let me show you, on basic channel, actually no, charity checkups, yeah, I do have a separate category, and there we go. This is what I did. This is the little bugger who's annoying me. Don't ask me how I did that, alright? Don't ask me how I managed to do it, but I did it. I got the little cheeser. This is ridiculous. Because these aren't the kind of wrench thing. I don't know, I'm not that tech savvy, but this is moving so slowly. Oh, the sweet, sweet revenge. What should I do with him now? Well, actually he's dead. I still got him though. Oh, I feel good. Festive. Alright, I got my revenge. No, there's a trophy. You know what? Since we're already talking about me becoming a supervillain, I feel like I should make myself a staff where the ending would be basically this mosquito, but encased in amber. You know. It's either a staff with a skull or a staff with an amber mosquito, so... what was I doing? Oh yeah, transparent. Transparent. Rend. Film festive. Render image. There we go. Ah, this looks worse than I expected. Let's just increase the size of everything. How about that? With individual. Festive. This bonding is kind of in the wrong place, but... No, but you know, my origin story is forming. How lame would that be? Like... you know, imagine me just fighting a superhero and I have them trapped. I'm talking about my evil plan. I said, you see, a long time ago, I wanted to be a YouTuber, but no one donated to me on Patreon. And so that was the day when I decided that I would blow up a city hall or whatever it is villains do in cartoons. Force for lipid. What are you on? I'm on hopes and dreams. That's what I'm on. You have to believe in your goals in order for those goals to come true. Everything is possible. The indomitable human spirit always wins against the indifferent cruelty of the universe. It don't look that great, especially if I compress it like this. It's good enough. I would just like to mention something, and that's... Let me also stop the music for a second. I would just like to mention... Come on, where is it? Where's the fun meme? Okay, never mind. I lost the meme. You say it out loud. It's pretty sad. What? It's not. Listen. Why can't people believe that? I genuinely do believe it. Listen, live your life to have fun. I made an entire video just mentioning about how two videos, in fact. Just mentioning about how meaning of life is to have fun. Meaning of our human lives is to have fun. And meaning of life in the happiness function. If people don't live in a way that grants them the most fun, then that means my model for predicting human behavior is off, and that'll be very sad, so please do live to have fun. To prove me right, because my ego demands it. Wrap text, no, I would like... Break text... Okay, break text allows me to move festive in the middle. Forceful lipid molecule, festive. If I'm not having fun, does it mean that my life is meaningless? No, that means it's... No. It means that you're just not buying... Is that even the word? You're not living your life to the meaning. It's kind of like if you bought a hammer and then you used it in order to... It's kind of as if you bought an iPhone and then used it as a hammer. That's a good example. So if you're living your life to not for fun, then no. If you buy an iPhone and use it as a hammer, the meaning, the purpose of the iPhone stays the same, which is to be used for calls, for internet surfing, whatever. But you're just using it wrong, and because of that, you're not utilizing the full value. Which means you would get more value if you live your life for fun. Now, the one thing that people really often get wrong with this is that I'm not saying you should live your life for immediate fun. there's a difference. Because living your life for immediate fun would just mean ODing on drugs, overdosing. That would be the best life lived for immediate fun. But it's not about immediate fun, it's about fun in general. So if you, for example, have an option between right now playing League of Legends, which would give you, let's say, no, you started this, I'm going to finish. So let's say that we have some sort of fun unit. Unit, comprehensive, fun unit countable creation with a K, I don't know, there we go. If we have this sort of unit for fun, drugs equals make it his projects. I'm not against. Listen. I'm not for drug overdosing. Let me. Okay. Okay. Listen. Here's the thing. So, here's the thing. Let's say we have this unit, right, called FUCK. And then you can measure how much fun something gives you. So for example, right now, if playing League of Legends will give you 100 units of that, right? And then on the other hand, walking or studying medicine or whatever, like that would give you less fun, let's say 10 units. Then yes, playing League of Legends gives you more fun than this. But in, let's say, 5 years, playing League of Legends would have an effect of 0 units on your life at that time. So after 5 years passes, right, we have this. But on the other hand, the fact that you worked, the fact that you studied medicine led you to have a better job. And in 5 years, from that better job, you would get, I don't know, 8,000 units of fun. That's what I mean by, living your life to have the best fun. Even if immediately you are not getting the best fun out of some activity, the purpose would be to always choose these activities which in the end result in the best life. That's the function. There's a lot of units of fuck. Yeah. So that's a lot of fucks. So you just have to get as many fucks as possible. That's I would love that clip of just massive out of context in the middle and me saying you have to get as many fucks as possible. I also love the fact that I had so many of these moments on stream that I genuinely just have a preset to click for when I'm saying something that could be taken out of context. So yeah, that would be it for this. I've gone away, of course. That's why I still believe that model is appropriate. Live your life for fun. Key terms, phospholipid. We already got over that. Don't re-mention that. Fluidity, measure of extent to which something is fluid. No, but I like that. The measure of fluidity. There are multiple factors that lead to membrane fluidity. Oh, another fluid. Oh, I snapped in the air. Okay. The first mosquito was my nemesis. The rest are just falling down. You're not as strong as your first. I've got experience now in killing you, you little Jesus. It's cheese as in cheese, not as in Jesus, I should mention, because my accent do be kind of funky. First, the mosaic characteristic of the membrane helps the plasma membrane remain fluid. The integral proteins and lipids exist in the membrane as separate but loosely attached molecules. The membrane is not like a balloon that can expand and contract, rather it is fairly rigid and can burst if penetrated or if a cell takes in too much water. However, because of its mosaic nature, it's a very fine needle can easily penetrate the plasma membrane without causing it to burst. The membrane will flow and self-seal when the needle is extracted. So it's basically, like fluid. I also burst when penetrated. So, membrane fluidity. Plasma membrane is a fluid combination of phospholipids, cholesterol, and protein. I feel like I'm trapped in the Groundhog Day. Didn't we already go over that? Oh my goodness, not a massive third of text. Second factor is release nature's phosphate itself. The saturated from the fatty acids of saturated by 100 there's no most of the fats that contain maximum number of hydrogen atoms, although they contain some double bond activity adjacent carbon atoms and result double bonds of approximately 30 degrees between carbon saturated acids with the force the saturated fatty acid okay. Writing question for like 30 minutes ago. I'm sorry, listen, don't write any questions about this. Let's just agree to absolutely hate that chapter and move on, please, because I swear we get the idea. We really do get the idea. This image is the entire idea. Right here. Hydrophobic tail, hydrophilic head. That's it. And also phospholipid. Just this graphic. Wait, oh no. Not the video was something important there. Active transport is pretty important. Yeah, but I mean, we moved on from active transport. There was nothing about active transport with those two chapters. That was all about how one part hates water, other part loves water. And they hate-love relationship. I mean, I do love passive transport. Yeah, okay. Primary active transport will be here. Yeah, so right now we are starting a new chapter in which there will be about active transport. Don't make me go back there, please. I just barely left. Diffusion, passive movement of solids across permanent membrane. Yup, concentration gradient. Concentration is present when the membrane separates two different concentrations of molecules. Examples. Over time, yeah, that's yes. That always a good analogy to that would be pressure in oxygen not included. Also in real life, but I feel like oxygen not included is more fun for that. So if you have one room in which you have 10 kilograms of air and another room have a vacuum, then over time they will basically change that, yeah. High concentration to low. I'm pretty certain that's called... I always call it the antonym of life, the opposite of life. Come on, make it... That's one of the most basic contents, one of the most important concepts. I can see the thumbnail from Veritasium's video. One of the most... The antagonist of life. I always mention that, so... come on. You can get... Entropy. My goodness gracious me. Let me just send that sip. Alright, there we go. Yeah, it's that's entropy. This kind of, right? It is entropy, right? I didn't just mention some random thing. But yeah, I'm saying entropy, right? Entropy of measure amount of material not available to work. Not that definition. Made or disordered randomness is in a closed system. Exactly. So, for example, this system is very much not chaotic, very much ordered, very much not random, because we have all on the other side, none of the rest. This one is more evenly distributed. Amount of chaos. Okay, well then measure of loss. I've never had that definition. Factors that affect diffusion. Okay, I should probably list them. Alright, so let's extend on all of these. We will have diffusion. Molecules move constantly in random manner at a rate that depends on their mass, their environment, and the amount of thermal energy they possess, which in turn is a function of temperature. This movement accounts for the diffusion of molecules through whatever medium in which they are localized. A substance will tend to move into any space available to it until... Why am I reading like this? Weird like... A substance will tend to move into any space available to it until it is evenly distributed throughout it. Yeah, after a substance has diffused completely through a space, removing its connection gradient, concentration gradient, that didn't seem right to me. So, yeah, concentration gradient, not the connection gradient. Obviously, I'm out of coffee. Molecules will still move around in space, but there will be no net movement in the number of molecules from one area to another. It's like the concentration gradient with different movements, dynamic equilibrium. While diffusion will go forward in the presence of a concentration gradient of a substance, several factors affect the rate of diffusion. Alright. Triple kill. Festive. Rate of diffusion is affected by... I should probably first specify what is diffusion exactly. I mean, this image sums up diffusion so well. Wait, can I use it first? I forgot about that. Whoops. Wikimedia. Diffusion can be summarized as the tendency to evenly distribute across the given. It's just probability. That's it. I mean, yeah. What kind of name is that? Watching a fly slowly be poisoned to death, and now I feel bad. What? What do you mean watching a fly slowly be poisoned to death? Could you elaborate? What? Did someone poison the fly, or is it just... Did it actually eat something it wasn't supposed to? You can't just add a message like that and then just leave it there. I sprayed the fly in my room with poison. It just dropped off and started rolling on, dying. Whoa. Yeah, listen, if you want to murder different flying insects, then you really need that hate. Instead, no, you really need that hate to commit these sort of war crimes. This is a lovely image for that. It roots from the fact that probability sorry about that, that must have been pretty loud. Roots from probability and the fact that particles... Nah, this won't move with text, will it now? Particles that move in different directions over time will distribute them. I'm repeating myself. Themselves evenly across a given volume. I am repeating myself. Alright, diffusion is affected by extent of the concentration gradients. The greater the difference in concentration, the more rapid the diffusion. Alright, so we could do as a list actually. The concentration gradient makes sense. Temperature, that's actually important to note down. temperature. High temperatures increase the energy and therefore the movement of the molecules. With higher movement of molecules, diffusion speeds up. Also quite logical. Solvent density. As the density of solvent increases, the rate of diffusion decreases. Solvent density. With higher solvent density, average movement speed of molecules decreases, causing diffusion to slow down. 4. Solubility. As gathered in nonpolar or lipid-soluble materials pass through plasma membranes more easily than polar materials, allowing faster rate of diffusion. Makes sense. If something has had the time of passing through the membrane, then it will diffuse more slowly. Solubility. Lipid. I'll just copy paste this one. Membranes more easily than polar materials, causing diffusion to speed up. Nope. How quickly something is. And Five. Surface area and thickness of the plasma membrane. Yup. Your last two comments in chat, I read them backwards, and because I read them from the bottom up to see the new ones first, and I just read it as, "Oh, puppy, I think it's dead now." Did you find a puppy? Yeah. Oh, you mean Buddy? Yeah, Buddy's here with me, chilling. 3. Puppy. It's a Buddy, not puppy. Come on. It was a puppy. It's not. No longer is. My cat is absolutely terrified of him. Absolutely no reason. By the way, I mentioned I'm completely okay. Now I have to share this. I'm completely 100% the kind of person that takes pictures of the dog. Not really mad, but I don't understand how people sometimes can resist that. It's too strong for me. When I see him, there's no way I can resist taking pictures. I mean, Look at that good boy. Look at that good boy. Come on, Discord, work for me. Look at that good boy. Look at him. Look at the good boy. It's ridiculous. Look at that. So that's Buddy. Everybody's that type of person. So I was surprised to know that not everyone is. I was really surprised to learn that. How it does. How am I supposed to walk when something like this is running around me trying to get me to pet him? Is this... How am I supposed to focus on anything else than petting him? Oh, look at that! I love this image the most though. He's insanely cute. I'd even say the cutest. Area and thickness of the membrane affect the speed of rate of diffusion in the exact same way as solubility by increasing or decreasing average speed of average rate yeah, good enough. Distance traveled. The greater distance that the substance must travel, the slower the rate of diffusion. But that's the exact same thing as the thickness of plasma membrane, isn't it? Upper limitation on cell size. Oh, you mean like that? Yeah, that's pretty obvious too. Version of diffusion is a process of filtration. Filtration material moves according to its concentration gradient through a membrane. Sometimes the rate of diffusion is enhanced by pressure, causing the substance to filter more rapidly. This occurs in the kidney, where blood pressure forces large amounts of water and accompanying dissolved substance or fluids out of the blood and into the renal tubules. The rate of diffusion in this instant is almost solely dependent on pressure. One of the effects of pressure is, yeah, it's all pretty reasonable. Osmosis, which as we, it's passive diffusion, right? If I remember correctly. Simple membranes. Osmosis is the movement of water through a semi-permeable membrane according to concentration gradient of water across the gradient. Wow, that's specific. Alright, so just add over here. Osmosis. Defined as the movement, and once again definition, so I'm copying, of water through a semi-permeable membrane according semi-permeable. Concentration gradient of water across that membrane. These are all pretty obvious, but I still feel like I should note them down because I am an idiot. Which is inversely proportional to the concentration of solids. That's actually very obvious. Semi-permeable membranes, also termed selectively permeable membranes or partially permeable membranes, allow certain molecules or ions to pass through by diffusion. Oh. This chapter has 8 subchapters, right? I'm not mistaken. Fuck me. To be fair, 3.3 is the longest one. Cell signaling has only 1 subchapter. And 2 organelles also. Oh boy, organelles will also be fun. Yeah, because organelles is like anatomy but for cells, so that would be more festive. Cytoskeleton will be similar to organelles, except for cytoskeleton. Actually, all of these is kind of anatomy for cells. all of these from 3.5 up. Those though are definitions for terms. While diffusion transports material across membranes within cells, osmosis transports only water across the membrane. Okay, so osmosis is diffusion for water across the membrane. While diffusion transports materials across membranes and within cells, osmosis transports only water across a membrane. Festive. One moment, alright. One moment, B. To be yeah, cats. What was the deal with your cat, if I may ask? What deal do you have? No context. Well, I mean, agree is agree a bit, because alright, I'll just carry on with osmosis then, I suppose. Told him if he lived and ate, then I would never not feed him whenever he wanted. So your cat just enters your room and kind of demanding food, and the only thing you can do about that is just give him food. Understandable. Alright, the aquaporin proteins that facilitate water movement play a large role in osmosis, most prominently in red blood cells and the membranes of kidney tubules. So renal tubules, professional, because I'm just fancy. He got really sick and refused to eat, and that's how you know it's serious. My brain is just always confused when you do something like, you know, you say a sentence, you end it with, that's how you know it's serious, and then Lamau. As much as he wants to know, but I drug his food. Out of context, that would be scary. That would be a terrifying sentence. That would be a mortifying sentence. To be fair, that's a fair deal. Not gonna lie. If someone proposed that kind of deal to me, I'd take it. Says mildly concerning thing. Well, mildly is not even the appropriate adjective here, honestly. Yeah, like mildly. It's very light. Kind of, you know, saying something with not mildly, quite concerning, or very concerning, and ending with Lamau. That's... My brain gets confused, you have to understand that. I'm a simple-minded being. I have 7... Okay, I have 7 brain cells, each of them for a different day of the week. And so... I need simple inputs to process them. For example, when I meet something like this, a huge block of text, then the now means don't worry. As if I don't worry. You just joined the stream like, hi, oh that's the game, oh yeah, it looks like, by the way, there's a tornado going on. Just saying, don't worry. As if I'm not going to fucking worry. Yeah, there's just a tornado. Yeah, sure. Why would I be worried? It's normal. Hi there, Crimpy. Welcome. Hi there. Hi, Crimpy. Don't worry, Ali was just mentioning dragging someone. You know, normal stuff. I mean, what? No. Basically, I'm trying to learn medicine, but in order to learn medicine, I first have to go over biochemistry, and we're all collectively really hating it. Have concentration to want of low concentration. Osmosis is just diffusion for water. Imagine the big. Why do we need an example for? What medicine are you interested in? Oh, I haven't gotten that far. I mean, the most interesting... Well, obviously, anatomy is the end goal here. Although I will go for everything. Anatomy, physiology, and biology. All of the funky stuff. But anatomy is the obvious end goal. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the biggest part. And when it comes to anatomy, the nervous system. I'd recommend first aid. Yeah, but that would require helping others. And I'm a YouTuber. So, you know, kind of a bit of an issue. Come on, Crimpy. Obviously, we're here for my own financial gain. I mean, the DPS Alliance is just a proxy to my own bank account. Obviously. Pharmacology is really interesting. I actually genuinely want to make a video of that, but this will be a pretty large video, so I'm kind of getting ready for it. Because people don't really get how drugs work. The thing is, drugs are way harder to make and they are way more complex than many people realize. Nutrinology is my focus though. That's also interesting. The thing is, what interests me most about drugs is that people really often don't get just how hard drugs are to make and how complex they are. Because in order to make drugs, you have to basically treat human being as not a real organism, only as a chemical reaction. And then drug is basically an input to that chemical reaction, which is supposed to change something in the chemical reaction. That's why very often descriptions of drugs, whilst very often they are obviously abstracted into medicine, because it is medicine, that's obvious, then the most basic... what's the name for it? The most basic principle for them is just kind of affecting a chemical reaction of human. I would really love to make a video about that, but it'd be really complex. But there are different concentrations also kind of pass across the membrane. Why is the connection? The volume of the solution on both sides of the membrane is the same, but the concentration is so different. Then there are different amounts of water with the solvent. There's more solid in one area than it's margin to... yeah. The second one contains sugar, and the second cup takes up much more space than the sugar in the first cup. First cup has more water in it. So osmosis would be just moving this so that at least two. I even heard there was a third one, but that might have been a rumor. So don't take my word for it. Psychotic, yeah, that's ridiculous. I was thinking a bit. I always thought that might have been fake news. The government trying to tell us that there's fair reason. There was a DLC though for different drugs. For me, always the end goal would be the nervous system because actually I have no idea why. It just seems fun. Actually, I already mentioned I'm forgetting stuff. I'm going to psychology or microbiology. Microbiology, okay, I can see myself doing microbiology. Yeah, that's not that hard to imagine. Psychology though, for psychology I would have to add another abstraction. That would be abstraction number 3 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that would be above medicine as an abstraction. I know it's fun, but it's very abstract, very, very abstract. I'm barely holding up with biology. So I think we all get what osmosis is. It's regulating amount of water, cool. Tonicity, oh, I haven't even heard about that one. Festive. Because with psychology, I feel like psychology is very small. It's a very small science in comparison to the rest. So if I'm doing another abstraction as psychology, I would also have to include all of the social things and basically talk about society. That would be great though, just stream with, oh my goodness, like a charity checkup, except I have a camera and I'm wearing my mask, except modified to look more like a Joker and basically talking about society. I mean, you are a new Joker. That's exactly what I said. Yes. You wanna know something about society? Society is all about gummy bears, gummy bears, gummy bears. I say gummy worms, worms. You see, we buy gummy bears. Because a bit, we're gummy worms, we're getting more with gummy worms. But society wants to eat gummy bears. I got a bit off track at the end though. Osmolarity, the osmotic concentration of a solution normally expressed as osmoles of solute per liter of solution. I just added the definition. My yes request an apology. Could have been worse, I could have sung. Osmosis. I just realized that's a great defense. Whenever someone asks you to apologize, you can just say, could have been worse. Say, you murdered my entire family. I mean, I could have chopped off both of your arms. I only chopped off one. Could have been worse. Get over it. Osmosis is mostly influenced by the osmolarity, the osmotic concentration of a half glass full Joker of a solution, normally expressed as osmoles of solute per liter of solution. Festive. Hypotonic, having a lower osmotic pressure than another. General goal of... I'm going about it backwards a bit. Fun game stream idea. Go on! I'm still looking for kind of some ideas for the 200. I have gotten a couple good ones, but I don't want to make something special. We could just... because we could just go traditional and just do a Civ 6 game. But I feel like Jackbox with viewers. Wait, isn't Jackbox... I like Jackbox. Oh, you mean... Oh. That could be festive. Wouldn't that require me to spend money though? That would be a bit of an issue because I will be broke on 200. I mean, I know I could do it right now, but then I will still be broke. You'll host it. Alright. Alright. We could... Oh, you know what we could do? Okay, if we're doing games like that, we could do a tournament. in general. Just do a list of games. Not gonna lie, I don't know exactly what Jackbox is. I kind of got the idea by looking at it. I'm guessing it's just board games, right? It's a game where you are funny. Ah, that's a problem then, because then I'd have to be funny. Make people have to win. Yeah, then I have to be funny. That's not easy. I'd even call that rather hard. Well then, I suppose it's fine. Yeah. I mean, that's a good idea. Alright. There's another one. Where you fucking coming from? I will burn this planet to the ground. Shred this universe into single atoms. Just to get rid of you, Jesus. I will. I will burn down. I am ready to burn down. Well, maybe not my apartment. That wouldn't be that great for me. But this room, maybe. It's a solid maybe at this point. General goal of osmosis, by the way. Osmosis is to balance out hypotonic and hypertonic substances into isotonic into isotonic substances, then I suppose through that. Alright, then hypotonic would be having a lower osmotic pressure than another, and hypertonic having a greater osmotic pressure than another, and having the same osmotic pressure. Festive. Example, density is the reason why saltwater fish cannot live in freshwater and vice versa. Saltwater fish's cells have evolved to have a very high salt concentration to match the high osmolarity of the water they live in. If you place a salted fish in fresh water which has low osmolarity, water in the environment will flow into the cells of the fish, eventually causing them to burst and killing the fish. It would be very... I shouldn't say it would be very fun if the fish exploded then, but... So is your osmotic pressure? So how is your osmotic pressure? Maybe hypertonic, maybe hypotonic, or isotonic? Let's tell me about that. Let's describe how an extracellular solution can change the volume of a cell by affecting osmosis. Yeah, let's add it. Tonicity describes how an extracellular solution can change the volume of a cell by affecting osmosis. All of those are very simple, but they are so wordy. There's so many words. I think we get that. Actually, this is really nice. Hypotonic, isotonic, hypotonic. Let's see if there's something about that. There is the exact same image. Festive. Why is it in lower quality though? It's the exact same image except in lower quality. Huh. That's interesting. Also this one. Tonicity. Oh yeah, I suppose tonicity would be a better description on them. What do you mean about festive? Okay, I have different. I used words differently. Festive is fun in my dictionary. Just how gaming is great. So when I say, that's gaming, then that means that's great. And when I say that's festive, that means that's fun. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. I know. I probably should get some context to it, but how is festive defined? Define festive. Feast or festival. Merry joyous. Yeah, so merry joyous, except fun. Becoming a feast. You see, I was thinking that this activity would be becoming a feast, and because of that, I thought, it would be festive, because it would become a feast. Let's drop in a solid tonicity image. Oh yeah, no, that's a good tonicity image. By affecting osmosis. Tonicity often directly correlates with the osmolarity of a solution. Osmolarity describes it also the solid concentration of the solution. Solution of low osmolarity has a great number of water molecules relative to the number of solid particles. The solution with high osmolarity has fewer water molecules. Okay, so yeah, high osmolarity means fewer water molecules. So let's just add things like, What? No, I meant. No idea, I was in a shortcut. High osmolarity. Also low osmolarity. Actually, I think an image should be above these. Ah! Where did you disappear? Don't disappear on me like that. There we go. High osmolarity, low osmolarity. Correlates. Oh, that's the other correlates with the osmolarity of a solution. High osmolarity is just great number of water. So more water molecules, more of them than solute particles. High osmolarity has water molecules, plural if I may. Festive. Hypotonic solutions. 3 terms: hypotonic, isotonic, hypertonic. Yeah. Hypotonic solution, the extracellular fluid has lower osmolarity. So hypo means yeah, that's basic. Vacillated diffusion, the spontaneous passage of molecules or ions across the biological membrane, passing through specific membrane integral proteins. Membrane proteins are attached to or associated with membrane of a cell or an organelle. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Alright, let's note that down. Channel mediated. Actually, key points. I should probably read key points more often. Diffusion uses integral membrane proteins to move polar or charged substances across the hydrophobic regions of the membrane. Channel proteins can aid in the vacillated diffusion of substances by forming a hydrophilic passage through the plasma membrane, through which polar and charged substance can pass. My goodness gracious me. I feel like we're talking about the exact same thing for the past 3 subchapters. Terminally vacillated diffusion functions much like a bridge over a river that must raise and lower in order to allow both to pass. Okay. When the bridge is lowered, boats cannot pass through on the other side of the river. Yeah, I think we got the similar gated channel protein often remains closed in the link substance into a cell until it receives a signal, like a binding of an iron, to open. When this signal is received, the bridge gate opens, allowing the boat's substance to pass through the bridge and into the other side of the river cell. So channel-mediated facilitated diffusion is just an optional facilitated diffusion. I'll just drop it in right in there without any context. Mediated facilitated diffusion is just like facilitated diffusion, except it's channel mediated. Except it's optionally open. Its openness, is that even an adjective, is dependent on some signal. When the signal appears, the diffusion starts. The gated channel protein remains closed. No, opens. Wait. Opens. Yes. Festive. Material being transported is first attached to protein or glycoprotein receptors on the interior surface of the plasma membrane. This allows the material that is needed by the cell to be removed from the extracellular fluid. These substances are then passed to specific integral proteins that facilitate their passage. Some of these integral proteins are collections of learn how to read. Beta sheets that form a channel through the phospholipid. What is wrong with me? Phospholipid bilayer. All these are carrier proteins which bind with the substance and aid its diffusion through the membrane. Cool. Now it's really logical. Allows the material that is needed by the cell to be removed from extracellular fluid. The substances are then passed to specific integral proteins that facilitate the passage. Once again, so much text about a simple thing. The integral proteins involved in facilitated transport are collectively referred to as transport proteins. That's actually pretty useful. So, transport proteins. Alright, a graphic would be nice. Transport proteins. Wait, let me just check. This one is to share, to remix. Okay, festive. I am overusing festive, to be fair. I should probably find a different word. And I like that. To share remix attributions are like the good. And you're saying you're not just saying that to me so that I won't feel bad. Alright, cool. Festive then. Festive. I have no idea where it come from actually. Why when did I start saying festive even? Because it's weird. I could just be saying fun. Why am I saying festive is such a weird thing to say? I have no idea, absolutely no idea. Alright, active transport protein pumps. It is to share, to remix, or to share is mostly the most important one. Most important one. Over here we have this one as heading. No, we don't. Okay, maybe I missaw the thing. Alright, you up. Not the header, up. Not that high up. How did that even happen? That's a completely different chapter. Oh, because you moved into the header, that's right. Higher page. Oh my goodness, moving these things around is so hard. Okay, break text. All of a sudden we're in anatomy. How did that happen? Up. What, mate? Come on, make it. You can do it. Come on, make it. You've beaten Doom on nightmare mode. You can place a fucking image down. Yeah, good enough. Good enough. Good enough for me. Alright. So, transport proteins and channels. Actually, channels, I suppose. Transport protein pumps. I should be looking for channels, not for this. Transport protein channels. Always remember to check if you're allowed to use someone else's graphics and whatnot in your whatnot. Not the head again. Break text. Now move to the center and up. Good enough. Transfer proteins. Enable proteins involved in facility transport are collectively referred to as transfer proteins. So transport. All proteins involved in facilitated transport. They function as either channels for the materials or carriers, or carriers, alright. Function as either channels or carriers. In both cases, okay, so channels would be then passive and carriers would be active. From what I understand. Because channels would just open and let the thing flow through. Carriers carry, which means they actively carry something. In both cases, they are transmembrane proteins. Channels are specific for substance that's being transported. Channel proteins have hydrophilic domains exposed to the intracellular and extracellular fluid, so that these don't mingle, and they additionally have a hydrophobic channel through their core that provides a hydrated opening through the membrane layers. Passage through the channel allows polar compounds to avoid the non-polar central layer of the plasma membrane that would otherwise slow or prevent their entry into the cell. Great, cool. Now that's understandable. Aquaporins are channel proteins that allow water to pass through the membrane at a very high rate. Wait, what's fixed? YouTube keeps not letting me chat in live chat. They want me to stay ignorant. The government doesn't want me to. The government wants me to make mistakes. I'm just saying, I'm not completely, conspiracy theorist, right? But I'm just saying only logical solution, only logical reason. So wait, Ali. Channels then would be. So channels for the materials would be passive, and carriers would be active, right? Am I understanding that correctly? Or am I way off? Okay, so it's that sort of thing. I understand. Well then. So they're both active. Oh boy. That kind of breaks my worldview then. In both cases, they are transmitting protein channels are specific on substance that's being transformed. They are divided into channels and carriers. So now channels, dog indeed, Soda. I just couldn't see the image, so I had to bring it on the main screen. My other screen is kind of, it's actually very funny, so it doesn't matter. So channels. Specific for the substance that is being transported. Also, hydrophilic domains exposed to the intracellular and extracellular fluids. That's just basic knowledge. They additionally have a hydrophilic channel through the core that provides a hydrated opening through the membrane layers. Passage through the channel allows polar compounds. Passage through the channel allows polar compounds to avoid the non-polar central layer. Actually, possibly basic. Unless it isn't. Wait. Central plasma membrane that would otherwise slow or prevent entry into the cell. So basically, you're saying passage through the channel allows passage through the channel. Aquaporins are channel proteins that allow the water to pass through the membrane at a very high rate. I had so much more fun with anatomy. This is they're open all times. Carrier proteins are active. Yeah, I mean, I get that because they're carrying, so it makes sense. But I just thought that channels would be, channels would open, they just let things flow. I thought that was the case. They are gated, which construction the attachment. Proteins are either open all times or they are gated. Are either open at all times or they are gated. Joins the opening of a channel. The attachment of a particle ion to the channel protein may control the opening, or other mechanisms or substance may be involved. That's so vague. That tells that. What's the purpose of that? The attachment of a particle ion. So basically, if an ion attaches to the thing, they may open or they may do something else. But also, it doesn't have to be an ion. That's so vague. In some tissues, sodium and chloride ion pass freely through open channels, whereas in other tissues a gate must be open to allow passage. Once again, very vague. An example of this occurs in kidney, where both forms of channels are found in deeper parts of the renal tubules. Cells involved in transmission of electrical impulses, such as nerve muscles, have gated channels for sodium, potassium, and calcium in their membranes. Opening and closing these channels change the relative concentration on opposing sides of the membrane in these ions, resulting in facilitation of electrical transmission along membranes in the case of nerve cells, or in muscle contraction in case of muscle cells. Alright, makes sense so far. Carrier proteins now. So yeah. This should be linked to this perfection, and it should be smaller. Not that kind of smaller, oops. And now carriers, which I'm also guessing I can find the same thing here. Yep. To share to remix. Festive. So carriers will, well, but in plasma is carrier protein. This protein binds a substance and in doing so triggers a change of its own shape, moving the bound molecule from the outside cell to its interior. Okay. When it binds a substance it changes its own shape. Instead of letting things pass through itself, it moves them. That's what caused me to think that this one will be active, this one will be passive, because, you know, this one actively moves it through, and this one just opens and lets nature do its thing. Carrier proteins are typically specific for a single substance, so just like channels, there's no difference. What if I just say yes? I would trust you. I mean, yeah, I don't blame you. It is biochemistry overlapping with biology at this point. Oh boy. Depending on the gradient, material may move in the opposite direction. Alright. I am powered by the views, right? The the views power me. YouTube. I am directly fueled by YouTube stats. Carrier proteins are typically specific for a single substance, just like channels. Yeah, let's mention it. Why not? Carrier proteins are typically specific for a single substance. Yes, this adds to the overall selectivity of the plasma membrane. The exact mechanism for the change of shape is poorly understood. Okay, that took me by surprise though. Exact mechanism for the change of shape is poorly understood. Proteins can change shape when the hydrogen bonds are affected. I could take my admets, but that would take effort. Wait, what? Admets? What are admets? What's that? I'm not familiar. Attention deficit disorder. Oh, I thought Oh, for a second, I genuinely thought that you really had to take meds for something, but you were just too tired to do it. And I was about to freak out. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there is no real need, because the thing is, you know this stuff. Like, you already know this stuff, and this isn't actually that important. It's just a useful thing to know in the back of your head. But I still want to get through it. How many pages did we do today? Oh boy, 1, 2, 3, 4th one. Okay, that's pretty good. The exact mechanism isn't fully understood. Proteins can change shape. You really need the meds to drive or to study. Yeah, don't take them right now, because there is always some side effect to it, and as I said, this stream is more for entertainment purposes, edutainment purposes, not education. As I mentioned, you already know these things. Each carrier protein is specific to one substance, and there are a finite number of these proteins in any membrane. And there are a finite number of proteins in any membrane. I am so glad that you have the need to mention that there isn't an infinite amount of them, there's only a finite amount. What's the purpose of mentioning that? You know what? There's only a finite amount of them. I don't understand. That's very generous, because I very vividly remember getting a C on my active transport test. But as I mentioned, the like knowledge importance of this. That's a very dumb way to say it, make it. So basically, you know, everything, you know it because knowing it for a C, let's be real here, knowing this topic for a C is way more than good enough. Knowing that exists, knowing only that exists is already good enough. Because knowledge important for this 2%. Yeah, I mean, if at any point of my life I'll ever, when researching something, I'll ever need to know this, then I will just Google it, because that's the whole thing. Knowing that it exists is the only thing that matters. It's different than like organ systems, because when it comes to organ systems, you need to know how they work. You need to know the answer to ask the question. So you need to know how they work in order to know what you're actually doing. For this though, no. Knowing that there are a finite number of these proteins in the membrane, that sentence is too so ridiculous to me. My face when there is only a finite number of something. The fact that they needed to mention that, I really don't get that. Example, this process occurs in the kidney, obviously either kidneys, either the renal system, that would be renal, oh yeah, renal system, or the circulatory system, or example. For some reason, it's almost as if that's where all the diffusion and transportation and movement happens. Yeah. Alright, festive. We got transport. Role of passive transport, such as diffusion and osmosis. Okay, so only diffusion and osmosis is the thing. And okay, just make it, don't think, just do. Concentration gradient, we already had that. Passive, we already had all of those. I'm having deja vu. Did we go for that again? Wait, didn't we already go for that? We had the exact same graphic, and also introduction to passive transport. Oh no, we're going through diffusion. That's right, that was diffusion. So, plasma membranes must allow or prevent certain substances from entering or leaving a cell. In other words, plasma membranes are selectively permeable. They allow some substances to pass through, but not others. Makes sense because there are some things you want to keep in and some things you want to get out. If they were to lose this selectivity, the cell would no longer be able to sustain itself and would be destroyed. Homeostasis would be lost. Some cells require larger amounts of specific substances than other cells. Big surprise. They must have a way of taking these materials from extracellular fluids. This may happen passively as said materials move back and forth, or the cell may have special mechanisms that facilitate transport. Some materials are so important to a cell that it spends some of its energy hydrolyzing adenosine triphosphate ATP, one of the most important things in biology, because that's units, basically, that's energy. Well, not basically, that is energy. To obtain these materials, red blood cells use some of their energy to do this. All cells spend the majority of their energy to maintain the imbalance of sodium and potassium ions between the interior and exterior of the cell. I feel like that I should end the stream. It's been 3 hours! My goodness gracious me. Okay, on average, I go 1 hour per page. Well, a bit more than that, actually. Like 1 hour per page and a quarter. That's ridiculous. Alright, cool. I will try to get through more of this off-stream, actually. That is a bit of it off-stream. Fun starts in like 2 streams. Yeah, that is true. Then we'll do skin. In 2 streams we'll be doing skin. Where's festive? Doing skin, and then, well, that's the beginning of fun starts in 2 streams, but the actual fun peaks from, well, there's this one. Fun peaks from the skeletal system till the end. From the skeletal system till the end, that'll be just smooth sailing. Well, not smooth sailing, but fun. Because there will be all of the systems. Oh yes, we'll be able to finally fill in these. Alright, cool. Very true. Ali's bro. We have alright. I'm off to work some videos. Because no daily uploads. And festive. Alright, that was a festive stream. I'm off to work on some more videos for daily uploads. And for now, that'll be it. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.